forgot the lens cap. What is going on, everyone? Welcome. Today is Monday. It's November 21st, 2022. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Stacy, and all the rest of you, whether you are watching now or later. So we've got a number of things to talk about today. We've got a new episode of Martial Arts Radio. I'm going to be watching the stove because it's 7 degrees outside. Maybe it's up to 8 now, but it's cold. I'm trying to get this place warmed up for the day. We have some sad news to talk about. We'll talk about our weekend, a bunch of stuff to talk about. So stick around. Let's start with the weather. I woke up and I was like, oh, it feels a little extra chilly in my house. And I look at my phone, because it's easier than looking at the thermometer outside, and it says 8 degrees. In 3 weeks, the temperature dropped 70 degrees here. That's not normal for us. Nope. In fact, it is so cold. How cold is it? It's so cold around here that ski areas are opening. They're blowing snow. They're looking at the forecast going, this makes sense. Let's do it. I'm looking at highs here of 40, 43 is the warmest temperature I see in the next 10 days, which means up on the mountains, below freezing. So, yeah, no doubt. I know a lot of people are excited. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, and to Brian. So the stove distracts my attention a little bit because I want to make sure that it's still going. I thought I had a fire in the fireplace last night, and I guess technically I did, but it looked like it burned out, so I just kind of left it. I woke up this morning to a pile of ashes. I don't think it got hot enough to do anything. I think it just kind of smoldered, and that was kind of a bummer, a little bit of a waste, but 'tis what it is. Dennis says it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Well, yeah, but, Thanksgiving, so... Hold on. Calm yourself. The ability to celebrate multiple holidays concurrently is difficult. The idea of, okay, well, Thanksgiving, but then Christmas, and we got to do all these things. It's tough. Brian says they got their pellet stove installed yesterday. Oil heat is now back up. That's great. And given what the oil prices are right now, I don't blame her. I have enough to get through the winter, and we'll fill back up over the summer when it's cheaper. Here's the part that annoys me a little bit, just a little bit. I saw prices coming up, and I was going to be just below what the company I use wants when they fill. I think they want 100 gallons. It probably would have been just shy of 100 gallons. And I said, I believe the prices are going to go up considerably. I'm willing to pay you a delivery fee of like $50 because I think that'll still be better for me. And they talked me out of it. And then prices nearly doubled. So there's a part of me that wants to call them back up and be like, so apparently I understand the factors creating pricing of your product better than you do, but that's fine. I will wait until summer. I got plenty of wood. I got plenty of oil. I have 2 oil tanks. Don't ask me why. It's a long story, but I'm thankful. What happened this weekend? Went for a hike on Saturday. If you follow me personally on Instagram, you saw some photos from the top of the mountain. Went well. It was a little chilly, but it was nice. It was nice to be out there, starting to acclimate to my winter hiking stuff. There's a lot more I got to carry. I got to carry all the summer stuff, but I got to carry all the winter stuff. And the winter stuff takes up more space. But it was a good hike. It was nice. Came home, hung out, watched movies. Managed to finish watching all 3 of the Christian Bale Batman films last week. Good movies. He is my favorite Batman. What else did I do? Watched the 3rd Harry Potter yesterday. cleaned up around here, went to Costco, got some stuff for cooking for Thanksgiving, went to my favorite Chinese buffet because there's sushi. They make it there. So I go in and I didn't eat nearly as much as I normally do. I only had 2 plates, but still got my money's worth. And came home and hung out and went to bed early and tried to make a fire. Frank said it was in the teens for much of the weekend here in Cincinnati. I had cart detail for most of Saturday and Sunday. I got my heavy coat out, mittens, and I wore my pajamas underneath my khakis. There you go. Sometimes you got to do it. The back and forth between Jenny and Dennis about when to decorate for Christmas is funny. Now it is Monday, and we do have another episode, of course, because we bring you an interview every Monday. And whose episode is today? Let's check it out. Today is 764 with Professor Jesse Dwyer. Jesse Dwyer is someone I know personally, somewhat local. We hadn't talked much. I mean, I'd seen him at events, and I know who he is, and I like him. I think he's a good guy. Most of what I know about Jesse is because we have a lot of mutual friends, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things. And finally, been kind of saying like, hey, you should come on the show for years, literally years. And finally it happened, and we had him on the show, and it's a good talk. We get into some sensitive subjects. We talk about martial arts school politics. We talk about being part of associations. We talk about lineage and sometimes the need for things to change. It's a good conversation, and I think you'll enjoy it. So check that out. Good morning, Gad. And kind of the exact opposite of a great episode for us to check out is an episode that's not going to happen. Most of you likely caught at some point over the weekend that Jason David Frank, best known as Tommy from the original Power Rangers series, passed away. Now, what's really the fact that a man lost his life is incredibly sad. What is unfortunate for us, completely selfishly, is that Andrew met him a couple weeks ago at Rhode Island Comic-Con. And he came away with a couple of these and gave me one. Jason was so excited to come on the show that he was trying to get Andrew to do it at Comic-Con. He's like, let's do it right now. Like, he was pumped. And I think it would have been a really good episode. So I didn't get to talk to him. And that makes me sad. I didn't grow up with Power Rangers. It just, by the time it hit, it didn't, I think I was just a little bit too old, didn't do anything for me. But so many people that I care about took so much from Power Rangers in the way that I did from Ninja Turtles, that I get it. And so the fact that this man is gone is a bummer. Makes me sad. And this is just kind of that reminder that we'll never be able to capture everyone's stories. But it doesn't stop me from being disappointed when there's a martial artist who passes away and we didn't have them on the show. I don't care if we can only do 52 interview episodes a year. There are hundreds of martial artists that pass every year, and we don't tell their stories. Probably thousands. Thousands is probably a better number. Still makes me sad. Every single one of them. Even the ones I don't know about, it makes me sad. Because those people, even even the ones that are known the least, that have the smallest circles, still have an impact on their communities and their families and their schools. Even if they're a student, there's still an impact. What we do creates better versions of people, and those better versions of people step out of training and they make an impact. And I wish I could tell everyone the story. Good morning, Liz. Jenny says, my kids met Jason David Frank at a Comic-Con event several years ago. He was so cool, such a great human being. And that's what everyone has said. That's what I have heard from absolutely everyone, that he embodied that sort of a spirit that, hey, I did this thing and I know it meant something to people, and I'm just going to do what I can. You know, so the front of this is promoting what appears to be, I don't know the Power Rangers universe, but it says Legend of the White Dragon. It appears to be a spin-off movie or something that they're promoting. And then the back is about training with him. You know, so he had students. So kind of a bummer. Not kind of a bummer, a major bummer. Dennis says, it's so incredibly sad the world will not be able to hear his story, and his 4 children will wake up without their father today. Yeah. It's harsh. Gad's sentiment is similar to mine. I never was really into Power Rangers, but I credit the show for getting people involved in martial arts and bettering their lives. I did really enjoy the latest movie, though. And Josh says, good morning. Heavy stuff, very sad, wishing the best to his family. And I don't want to dwell on this, right? Because it's sad, but we have to move on. And half the reason I bring it up, and the fact that we did not have the opportunity to speak with him on the air, is a reminder to all of you. I would guarantee every single one of you is connected to a martial artist who, unless you make it happen, will not come on this show. And that person, when they pass away, whether you're looking at the reality because they go first, or you're thinking of it hypothetically or from beyond, depending on your beliefs, because you go first, will make you very sad. If there is someone out there whom you believe should be on the show, and them passing away without us talking to them would make you very sad, make it happen, please. Reach out, talk to Andrew, whatever we got to do. Let's make it happen. Okay. Yeah. There is, and maybe this is known. I have not seen this disclosed in official channels. There is speculation about his passing. I am not going to speak to that. I don't find that necessary. Two, unless it is officially disclosed, I feel it's inappropriate. So I'm not going to do that. There are suspicions. I have suspicions. It's not appropriate for me to share them. And Stacy gives us a good segue here. Thank you. Move on by supporting your friends, your family, chosen in bloodline, your fellow artists. Yeah. Now, Frank did give us some stuff to talk about, and I want to make sure that we talk about that. Thank you, and shout out to Frank, as always, for all he does on the show. Thank you to Josh for our theme song. November is Native American Heritage Month. How many folks do we have with Native American blood in the chat, if you're willing to say? I don't. No, I don't. Black tea this morning, bit of cream. Man's heart away from nature becomes hard. standing bear. I've shared this before. Well, long time. I've shared this before. I will share it again. I will continue to share it. I believe wholeheartedly that the further from nature we get, the more problems we create. If you want the best example, look at food. The less natural our food, the more problematic it is. That is not just a food thing. That extends to everything. And I recognize that there is a conflict between much of what I do and the life I lead and that statement. But I work hard to try to reconcile the two. And given the financial resources, there would probably be even more of a contrast. I would have no problem turning off the electricity 8 hours a day. Stuff like that. I'm not there. Not yet. I'll get there. Is it snowing? It is not currently snowing that I can tell. That surprises me. It's always snowing a little bit. Josh says, in case anyone needs a pick-me-up or just has a general case of the Mondays for other reasons, look for the new Walmart commercial with members of the original Office Space cast. Oh, super fun. Well, that's cool. Jenny says, not me, but Matt has Cheyenne lineage. My kids have Sioux lineage directly related to Chief Sitting Bull. Well, that's fun. Liz says it's snowing there. Good morning, Andy. And our next quote, we will be known forever by the tracks we leave. So Dakota Tribe saying. And aren't we? Tracks don't simply have to be physical. It's the mark we make, the stories we leave, the good we've done. One of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately, like really a lot, is that we are the only species hardwired to allow for selfishness. Every other species ends up in balance with itself, for the most part, right? The actions that seem selfish of, let's say, a deer, I think about deer and the food that they have around here. It's so they can procreate. When an animal gets old and it's time, it goes out into the woods, or is in the woods, or just kind of lays down and gets ready. It doesn't reduce the risk of survival for others by consuming resources. Now, that's not a judgment. That's not saying we should do things differently. That is merely an observation. And because of this, we as a species have the ability to make life worse for future generations, or to even keep it from happening, which just blows my mind. We all have what we have because of previous generations and their willingness to do some things for us. And I think a lot of us aren't willing to do things for future generations. We've become quite selfish as a species. That makes me sad. All right, let's move on to the last one before we get too heavy here. And then, I didn't ask, I want to hear about your weekend. I want to hear what you did. And I want to know what you're doing today. Our last Native quote today in celebration of Native American Month. If we wonder often, the gift of knowledge will come. It's a saying from the Arapaho tribe. If we wonder often, the gift of knowledge will come. You've got to ask the question, in order to be ready to receive the answer. You have to be open. You have to have that white belt mentality. If you say, I know this, you can't learn. I've said this on the show before. It took me a long time to realize that my natural curiosity and my asking of why, being even as an adult, well, why'd you do that? It's not a judgment. At least I don't mean it as a judgment. It's an attempt to understand. But for so many people, that is a judgmental situation. And I've had to change that quite a bit. But I am constantly researching and trying. I'm learning how to make my own sourdough bread starter right now. Why not? Constantly learning new things because that's how I'm wired. I want to learn everything. I can't, but I'm going to try. Also had like the most basic level of gunsmithing task this weekend. Had to drive around, went to multiple stores trying to find the right screws. Managed to make it work. Figuring stuff out. It's a big part of how I approach the world. And I think in martial arts, it's a big part of how we should approach what we do. If instead of thinking of free form movement, right? And I constantly break that out. Sparring, self-defense, whatever drills that don't contain a right answer you're doing. Think of it as a problem. We're solving problems. Someone tries to punch you in the face in this way. That's a problem that's been presented. There's more than one right answer. There are a few wrong answers. Pretty much anyone where you get hurt. But there are lots of right answers. What are all the different right answers? Why might you use one over the other? And I think looking at it in that way, for me, has been really helpful. I'm trying to solve problems. Well said. Gad says we as a species have put consumption of goods before consumption of knowledge. Yeah. Mark says over the weekend he took his team to a tournament and they rocked it. So glad to hear that. I'm still surprised it's not snowing. It really looks like it should be. What am I doing today? Got a few calls. Have a client lunch. My international client is back. She comes back every probably 3 months. And the team has lunch. One of my clients this afternoon is sick. I have a call with Frank, and just in between doing a bunch of work. Tomorrow's a recording day. I think I've only got a couple on there, but one's a name. One's a good name. Maybe not a big name, but a good name. Next week's episode of Martial Arts Radio. That's a big name. What else? Oh, Jenny says we have a meeting. Well, good. I thought so. Andy's filling out paperwork for a new job. To get it, or you've already had it? Already have it. Jenny started the Thanksgiving week celebration on Saturday by making turkey dinner. It was amazing. This year's pumpkin cheesecake was the creamiest, most delicious yet. It was incredible, even compared to, quote, real cheesecake. She's gluten, dairy, peanuts, soy, etc. free. And my cheesecake was better than any cheesecake she's ever had. Well, that's pretty cool. And Mark says, you had me at pumpkin cheesecake. Dennis says it's 22 there, working today through Wednesday, but no trips to the office. Oh, Andy's filling out paperwork to get the job. Good luck, my friend. And we might have a live recording this weekend. I was supposed to have a live recording for something, but I'm not seeing anything related to it in here. So I'm guessing that's not happening. If you happen to see me go live at like 5 o'clock, you'll know why. I hear you, Gad. I'm not going to put that up because it's such a long comment, but I get it. I get it. We could have a conversation about that sometime. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go relax. Kelly picked her daughter up from college for the week. Excited to have her home for a week. That's great. Awesome. Excited for you guys. Enjoy the time. And I hope you all enjoy the time. We will not have a show. Well, let's see. Will we have a show on Thanksgiving? I don't know. Let me think about that. We might have a show on Thanksgiving because I'll be here. I'll be waking up. I don't have that much cooking to do. But it wouldn't be a bad thing for me to get started around 7-ish. Doing roasted sweet potatoes, like a savory sweet potato dish. Because everything else was claimed. All the stuff I'm good at. What mashed potatoes, white mashed potatoes, one of my specialties. I make amazing mashed potatoes. Those were already taken. And all the desserts were covered. And all the snacks were covered. And of course, the turkey. I wasn't going to make the turkey. And then there's a bunch of other stuff happening. And I was like, man, I'm looking and I'm like, what else is left? And everything left was either lame or it was sweet potatoes. And so I thought a lot about different sweet potato dishes and looked at recipes. So I'm making roasted sweet potatoes. That's what we got. Liz is suggesting a whistle kick giving show. Let me think more about that. There's an idea. It's not fully formed because I'm not awake. Liz says her weekend was busy, got to hang out with friends, went to a wreath decorating class with Vinny, her son. I launched our new laser cutting business on Facebook. Cool. Today, my mother is traveling down for Thanksgiving. Super excited. That's awesome. It's a great weekend. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great day. I hope that if you love what we do, if you are family, you'll check out the family page, whistlekick.com/family, and consider supporting us on Patreon. You can do as little as $2 a month. And then, of course, we've got the code FirstCup15 if you want to get something like this hoodie and the matching pants, or a mug, or sparring gear, or any of the things. Use that code FirstCup15. See you.